Knowles on the News. Susan Knowles.
So I guess it's appropriate to say Happy Hoodwinked Day. What do I mean by that? Well, I don't want to be cynical or even sarcastic today, but sometimes it's really hard to do that, especially when you're talking about the Obama administration. We've been hoodwinked again, America. Not that we didn't see it coming or that we don't see it coming every time it happens, but we've been hoodwinked again. And probably no one in the media is really going to pay too much attention to what just happened because, as always, the Obama administration has a great explanation. It's like, come on, people. What do you think? You've been lied to again by me? Oh, no. I have a perfectly good explanation. Just sit back and listen to what I have to say. I know you're feeling sleepy now and you're going to be hypnotized again by my voice. And I'm going to give you another one of the Obama administration lies. This time, and I have it's an article that I wrote. It's up on the Blaze, and it's called, interestingly enough, Obama administration's latest card trick with a $400 million payout. But don't let my cynicism get in the way of the article. Just read it. You know, how can you come out and say, hey, you know what? We just paid out $400 million to Iran, and it was no big deal. You know why? Because let me just tell you. All we were doing was just paying off an old debt from 1979. Yeah, you heard it. Not 1997, not 2007, but 1979. You know, one of those things where all the other presidents before him and after 1979 tried, we've really got to pay off this debt to Iran. We really, really, really do. And they made it their top priority, you know, just like Obama did. And we're, year 7-ish, and we're almost done with Obama. And so all of a sudden he's got to pay off that debt from 1979. And you believe that, right? You believe that's what he was trying to do. Well, let's see what else he did, because there's more to the story. But of course, let me just digress a second and go back and say the Obama administration, the spokespeople, are coming out and saying, "Oh my gosh, this is just a debt, and if you think it had anything to do with part of the Iran nuclear deal, you are so wrong, because two separate negotiation teams handled these things." And so you don't even let your mind go there. You know, think happy thoughts. Think other things that you can think about, but don't let your mind go there. You know, we can't ever have, and you know, in the administration, we don't have two negotiation teams talking to each other or, you know, coming together over one thing. So that's an impossibility, people. Come on. Don't be silly. Don't let your mind go there. And this $400 million is only a first installment of the $1.7 billion with a B dollar settlement that's reached between the Obama administration and Iran over this 1979 deal. Now, how much money have we given these people? I mean, really? How much money have we given these people? It's been 150 billion or something like that we in the Iran deal, and then we're going to give them 400 million more. But that was only the first installment. We're going to give them another 1.7 billion more. Why? Because they need it. They're nice people. We just need to remember that. They're very nice people. They're going to do really good things with this money. Don't worry about it. And, you know, I think there probably was something else going on, because it just so happened that reaching this agreement for this 1979 debt happened at the same time that we've completed the deal with Iran over the nuclear agreement that we had with them. So, wait a minute. Come on. I know. I almost let my mind go there. I was thinking, wow, so let's see. The two negotiation teams, one for the Iran deal, one for 1979 debt. I mean, how great is that? They got finished at about the same time. I mean, how cool is that? How did they work that out when they don't even talk to each other? It's magic. The whole administration is magical. Totally magical. Remember Obama told us his administration was going to be the most transparent administration in history. And that's been true. Because he said it, it's been true. And yet, I don't know, maybe this was just something else that somebody else did and he wasn't really involved. But this whole, taking the $400 million to Iran, well, this was secretly set up. So it doesn't make sense, when you have a transparent administration, but okay. And not only that, but we didn't even use American dollars, which, by the way, he was so good about this. Obama was really good about this. He remembered that it was against the law to do transactions in American dollars when you're dealing with Iran. It violates United States law. So, isn't that great? He was upholding the law, and he's really transparent. So when this money was secretly sent over, it wasn't American dollars. He had euros that were sent over, and other forms of currency that it wasn't United States dollars. So why are you even bothering? What difference at this point does it make? This happened back in January. At the same time that 4 hostages were released. But you know what? Just like with the negotiations, it didn't happen at the same time. So why are you making a big deal out of it? Had nothing to do with the hostages. Like the Obama administration said, everything had to do with the 1979 debt that we were all so concerned about, Iran getting their money and getting that all paid off. So, case closed. Nothing to see here. Time to move on, people. I'm sure there's more important things. There's got to be a video out there on something that you might want to look at rather than bothering the Obama administration with some pesky little argument that this $400 million payout somehow was used to buy the release of the hostages. Come on. How far-fetched is that? Whenever the Obama administration talks, and their people come out, their spokespeople come out. I know that you know this, and I've learned this myself. You've got to ask yourself, okay, so what's not being said? What are they hiding? And yeah, the correlation between the hostages released with the giving of the money, yes, that's obviously what's being implied here that happened. But there's got to be something else, because that's a lot of money, right? It's a lot of money, and it was never mentioned. Gosh, the Obama administration never mentioned it, never talked about it in January when, we're going to send money over to Iran, just going to let you know, so that maybe Congress, if they ever did their job these days, might have stopped it. And I'm sure that's one of the reasons that he kept it quiet. But what else could there be going on? Again, I look for the trick card playing, right? What hand are we playing? What's going on? I want to keep an eye on that. Or should I look at the shells moving around on the table and try to figure out what the Obama administration is doing this time? Well, I think there may be something else going on besides just paying $400 million for the release of hostages. There's been a lot of talk in the Middle East recently in regards to having Israel start up the Israeli-Palestine talks again in order to give Palestine back their land, part of their land that Israel captured in 1967. And to also have Palestine recognized as a state. Now, I think we all pretty much know that Obama would have given his 2 front teeth to be able to say, oh, I'm the president that negotiated. I can't talk like him. I'm the president that negotiated this Israeli-Palestine peace treaty. Aren't I amazing? Like, you knew I was amazing, but now that I've done this, aren't you really, really, really impressed? This is the legacy that I'm leaving behind. And this is amazing, amazing, just like me. Well, his dreams and hopes were kind of dashed back in March. And he kind of gave up on ever having that happen during his administration. But he wanted to have something. So he wanted to make sure that his name was there for the one who paved the way. And I'm sure that was probably for the next Democrat that gets into office, he's hoping. That would be Hillary Clinton. Because, Hillary is just so keen with foreign policy. I mean, geez, that woman does such a great job. Nothing ever goes wrong with her foreign policy deals. Benghazi. Sorry. Did I say that out loud? So, that's going to be her first mission. And I'm sure, just like Obama, she gets along really, really well with Israel. I mean, they are tight friends. So having his name in the history books, and those won't be erased because it's from the Democrats, would be a great thing. So how does that, you're asking, how does that connect up with Iran? Let me explain. Iran and Hezbollah love Palestine. They want to see nothing more than to have Palestine recognized as a state, as a nation, and have their land given back to them. Doesn't it sound familiar with what Obama wants to do? But anyway, I digress. So if we give Iran money, let's say that's earmarked for that type of purpose, so that they can, buy more supplies that they need, let's say, to kind of pressure Israel into these Israeli-Palestine talks. Wouldn't that be great if you had, $400 million sitting around for that purpose, and with more coming that equals 1.7 billion? I mean, what a coincidence. That would be just great. So I think what happened, though, and again, at the end of it all, Obama can say, wow, I forgot to mention, I gave money to Iran back in January, $400 million, and look at the good works that they've done with that money. I mean, look at where we are. We've got an Israeli-Palestine peace agreement here in negotiations. I mean, and I'm responsible for that because I had the foresight to give them the money to earmark it to do this type of thing, do these good works that we all know that Iran can do, right? Well, I think Saudi Arabia may have just said, you know what, I think that every time Obama touches anything in the Middle East, we're in trouble. Things happen. Syria's not going well. We've got Iran, who's threatening all the time to close the Strait of Hormuz. And besides that, you know what? Those pesky Shias are always fighting with our Sunnis. So I don't want Iran to have anything to do with the peace agreement either. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to send an official from Saudi Arabia over to Israel, and we're just going to talk this whole thing out. Maybe we can get them interested, meaning Israel, in opening up talks again about the 2002 Arab Peace Initiative. Because let's just say this. We all in the Middle East, we want peace. We want all of this to stop. And this is kind of one of those things that's being held over everybody's heads, right? Because we all know this is what Iran wants. This is what Hezbollah is helping them do. And if we can just take that sting away, if we can just take that, what they're using away against us, what's Iran going to do? I mean, it's going to take some of their power and control away because we're just going to go ahead and enter into that agreement without them. And then what are they going to have to argue about? And it's going to take care of a lot of our problems. And not only that, but we get to say, Saudi Arabia gets to say, we're the ones that negotiated this peace treaty between Israel and Palestine. It wasn't Obama, because everybody knows that his administration, his presidency, is a total and complete failure and has been for the past 8 years. So we don't want his name anywhere near it. So you, John Kerry, can get your little self back to the United States, quit negotiating and handshaking with Iran every time we turn around, and start, I don't know, closing up your office, filing papers so that when Hillary comes in and maybe she ousts you out, you can have something else to do. And if Donald Trump comes in, for sure, you're going bye-bye. Not that you'd want to stay, but I'm just saying. So you can start cleaning out your desk and putting books in boxes and, oh, wait, I know. You have people that do that for you. Okay, whoever. Get it done and get it finished. But, good for Saudi Arabia. Seriously? Quit waiting for the United States and all of the Obama administration's failed policies and plans. And, I mean, my gosh, one has to look at Syria to know how much the administration has failed in Syria. I mean, they can't even oust the Syrian president or anything else that they may have wanted to do, which, by the way, Iran is opposed to doing that. So, what can they do successfully? I'm not sure. I think the only thing that they're really successful at doing, really, really successful when you look at it, is signing executive orders that don't benefit America and spending America so much into debt that we'll never get out of it. All the while, they take how many vacations? How many extravagant vacations? How many times? And I'm really so tired of hearing people say, well, Michelle takes her mother and her daughters because they keep the family together, and you should admire that. No, I don't admire it. Stay home with your children. Stay home with your mother if that's what you want to be together. You don't need to be traipsing all over the world and spending our money and buying extravagant clothes. Some of the other first ladies, I can't remember this kind of extravagance that they did. Maybe Jackie Kennedy Onassis, but I don't even think she came close to spending as much money as Michelle Obama has. I mean, it's amazing how much money runs through the White House and out, and you might as well flush it down the toilet because it's not being put to good use. And if I hear Obama talking about how Donald Trump isn't qualified to be president one more time, I don't know if I'm going to be able to take it. I mean, I have tape around my head already that's kind of holding in my head so it doesn't explode when he talks anyway. But for him to come out and say, oh, that Donald Trump attacking a Gold Star family, he doesn't, how dare he do that? I mean, because we know how wonderful the service was and these people that give their lives for the country. Absolutely. The person who died gave his life for our country. The military does that every single day, and that's an amazing accomplishment. But for Obama to come out and criticize people who may have criticized someone else who gave, their service to the country, give me a break. Really? When was the last time you came out and said anything nice about the police department without ripping them apart? These people who put their lives on the line every single day. And let's not forget in 2009 when you said the police were acting stupidly when you had none of the facts. And then you had the gall to turn around and say that Donald Trump did something that makes him inept to be the president. Oh my gosh. And then you're talking about he doesn't know anything about foreign policy, and so therefore he really can't be president. And you know something about foreign policy? Please fill me in on what that is. I would really like to know. Because so far, everything that you've touched in foreign countries has been a disaster. And that's right. You didn't touch Benghazi. That wasn't you. That was just your administration. You were sleeping. So, I mean, my gosh, that can't be blamed on you. And neither can that whole lie, and it is a lie, about the video being the cause for the attack in Benghazi because you were asleep. I mean, come on. You left Hillary in charge. I think she was asleep too, And then I think the next day, you didn't even go to the meeting to be briefed on what happened in Benghazi. I'm sure you had better things to do. I'm sure there was a golf tournament, a private golf something or other somewhere. Maybe with a Hollywood celebrity that you had to go to. We all understand. We totally, totally understand. We must understand because we keep allowing all of this to happen. We do absolutely nothing about it. We're going to PC ourselves right to death because we don't do anything when something like this happens. When something like $400 million is transferred and blamed on something that happened in 1979. As I said, how many presidents do you remember between 1979 and now who said, oh my gosh, we need to pay that debt back to Iran from 1979? Exactly. 0. It can't be soon enough for this man to get out of office. It really can't. He's made a mockery of this country. He's done everything he can to try to bring this country down. And I'll tell you what, he's done a really good job at it. Maybe that should just be the only legacy that he has and the only one that really matters. Because I thought George Soros was good, but I'll tell you, I think Obama is right up there with him, if not better in some instances. Because he took a country that was great. He took a country that people loved, respected, understood, felt a part of, knew who they were in this country. And he's taken that away. And unfortunately, we've sat back because he's the first African-American president, and we've allowed him to do it because, God forbid, we didn't want to do anything that was politically incorrect. How many more times are you going to allow these people, these progressives on the left, to tell you that you're politically incorrect, you're out of line, you're a bigot, you're a homophobe, you're a racist, whatever the word is that they want to use to stop you from speaking out and saying, this needs to stop. This is wrong. They are tearing us apart individually now. They've ripped our country apart. And now individually they're tearing us apart where we don't trust each other anymore. If you happen to be a different color skin than the next person, that means you don't trust them anymore because they've made you believe that there's reason not to trust them. And if you're white, all you've been told and all the public has been told is that you have some type of white privilege that is more than anybody else, while at the same time, all of the social justice programs, entitlement programs, et cetera, go to everybody else who isn't white, mostly. And yet we still sit back and don't say anything because that would be politically incorrect. Well, Donald Trump is not the only one who can speak out, and Donald Trump better not be the only one that can speak out. I mean, we have got to speak out ourselves. And I'll tell you, we need to quit fighting each other over Donald Trump. Let people who don't like Donald Trump, let them not like Donald Trump. If you like Donald Trump, then get out there and help him win. Get out there and say the things that need to be said that supports your candidate. Stop saying, and fighting whatever that you think and defending what you feel is negative against him. He does a lot of things that he shouldn't do. I mean, honestly, he really does. Sometimes I think he's cracking jokes and he thinks it's funny, but I don't think people get his sense of humor. Like with that baby the other day when the baby was crying and he's like, oh, that's okay. What a cute baby. Let the baby cry. It's fine. Oh, look, it's just a young baby. How precious is that? And then the next minute he's saying, oh, the mother really thought I was serious about that. Get the baby out of here. I don't know if he was joking. I have no idea. Most people are sitting there going, boy, that's rude. It just doesn't make sense. Is it the worst thing? No. But we don't need to have a lot of questions about somebody. We need to just go, oh, wow, I know he really knows what he's doing and he knows what he's talking about, and I'm going to follow this guy's lead. That's what we need. So if you want to help your candidate, get out there and help your candidate by telling him, quit doing things that are making him look bad in the public eye. And it's not that he's looking bad to the rhinos in Washington, D.C., because I could care less about that. But he's looking bad to the American public. Well, Hillary, on the other hand, is saying nothing and looking like an angel. How absurd is that? You're not. You think that you're fighting the American public, the never Trumpers, the never Trump, the always Hillary people, whatever the case may be. You're not fighting those people. You're fighting your own candidate because your candidate keeps saying things that he shouldn't say in public, and it is hurting him. Whether you like to believe that or not, it is hurting him. So do him a favor. Contact his office, his people. Tell them, calm him down on certain things. Change his sense of humor, perhaps, so that most people who watch him will understand whether he's serious, whether he's just kidding, whatever the case may be. Because I think you and I both know, coming off the RNC and the DNC, for people who don't sit and really watch TV all that much, the DNC made everybody look like they were just absolutely wonderful people. Oh my gosh, look at them. They're getting together. They just love each other. They didn't see the people in the back who were just writhing in hatred because of what happened with Bernie. No, the cameras weren't on those people. They don't air their dirty laundry in public like the Republicans do. When everybody watched them, it looked like, oh, they were just getting along together and having such a great time. Aren't they great people? Don't you just want to be part of it? That's what people saw. People who sit out there when Mark Dice talks to them on the street, and he can convince them that Hillary is a Republican, and they're, oh, well, I'm not going to vote for her then. And then he'll say, well, what if she is a Democrat? Oh, well, then I'm going to vote for her. People who have no idea who or what Hillary is about. They have absolutely no clue. And those are the people that are going to go out there and vote. Who are they going to vote for? I don't know. They would have voted for Bernie. But so many of them, if you're female now and you're under the age of, 100, somehow you're going to vote for Hillary now. Because God only knows we need a female in office. Whether she's a crook, whether she's a liar, whether she's a saint. If she has the female parts, we need that person in office. It's amazing where we have come in this country. We are more intelligent than that. We are better than that. And yet, here we are. Here we are in the position that we are in. It's going to be so hard to dig ourselves out of this hole. And it's not going to take 2 days, 2 years, 20 years. You're talking about an uphill battle of trying to get back some semblance of who we used to be, because the other world, I think, that was kind of hidden has now come out, and they're taking over. So whatever, unreasonable thing, that's going to be the norm. Whatever something that you thought was going to be just unheard of, would never happen, that's happening. So just think contrary, and that's where our government, our society, our United States, that's where we are today. And we always talk about the Convention of States and bringing back states' rights and what we have to do with that. And there's been a movement with those people now for, it seems like years, and it may have been years, and they're getting enough votes that they need to get that going. But I'll tell you what. Even though they have the legal standing to do all of this, I don't know if it's going to even matter. I don't even know if they're going to be able to do anything about it, because our government, we're not following laws anymore. We're following some, but when it really matters, are we really following laws? Is our president really following the laws? So how are the Convention of State people going to come along and say, okay, we're going to give the states their rights back? You think the government's going to allow that to happen? The federal government's going to allow that to happen? They get so much money off of using the states now, and they're just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Do you really think they're going to honor what the Convention of States is trying to do because it's constitutional to do so? You think it's really going to matter to them? I have my doubts. I really do. And then what? What do you do? I'm just not sure. I'm not sure where you go from there. But, we concern ourselves, as we should, with our Second Amendment rights. and how we can't get Hillary in because she's for sure going to take away our Second Amendment rights, or she's going to try. But I'll tell you one thing. Our rights are being taken away. Our Second Amendment rights virtually been taken away every time a new federal agency takes more rights away from us. So that when they eventually, if they try to take away our Second Amendment rights, it won't really matter because everything else will have been gone and taken anyway. The only thing we have left are our lives, and that's important to defend, yes. But everything else will most likely be gone the way it's going. I mean, you just sit back and you watch every day, and you can't keep up with what's going on because so much is happening all the time. It boggles the mind. It really does boggle the mind. And you think, how much more of this? I mean, you need a playbook now to know what's going on in the United States. It used to be you needed a playbook to know what's going on in the Middle East, and you still do. But now it's gotten to the point where in the United States, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? Where are these people that are going to have the next attack? I mean, it truly, truly is hard to keep up with it all. And just when you think that it can't get more ridiculous with the Obama administration, they have something now. It's on the Border Patrol's website. It offers advice on how to avoid the Border Patrol. So immigrants who want to enter the United States illegally can learn how and where to avoid the Border Patrol. Isn't that great? I mean, don't you think that they should come out now with something, let's say, I don't know, let's be proactive more. Let's tell the people who are coming here illegally or anybody else what time the money comes into the banks. And, because if you really want to, let's say, avoid the traffic, you really want to know what time the Brinks people are going to be rolling in there to bring more money, right? Or let's say, what time do people go to, I don't know, what would be important? How about what time police officers, when do they normally take a break? I mean, there are certain times of the day, it's probably a higher crime time, than any other time, right? Crime rates are really high. Different things are happening. Why not just say where the police are, maybe what time most of them take a break? I don't know. What else would be helpful? Something like that. I mean, because if you're somebody who is coming in here illegally, or let's say a criminal who just wants to do stuff, shouldn't they be helped? Shouldn't we have maybe on every website information like that would be useful to somebody in that position? So we can help them along. I mean, I think that the Obama administration obviously feels that's a good thing to do. Because I don't know, we're not just talking people from Mexico coming in here. We're talking about people who come here, like, I don't know, Syria, other countries, maybe people who want to attack us here from, let's say, ISIS people from wherever. I mean, wouldn't it be great for them to know how to avoid the Border Patrol? So that, I mean, come on. I mean, especially like during broad daylight, when you want to know, okay, so if you go in this section to this section for about 4.5 miles, not going to be any Border Patrol there. Borders wide open. Come on in. To me, I still, it's hard to deal with this because you're looking at this going, what president does that to his or her own country? I mean, when have you ever known a president to give away vulnerabilities? Because that's what it is, right? If you know where the Border Patrol is, you know how to avoid them. You're making America vulnerable. And you've taken this oath that you will protect and defend the United States and the people of the United States. But now we're telling what could be possibly our enemy where they should or shouldn't go to be able to get across the border the best way. Now, I know the Obama administration would say, oh, no, we're not doing that. We're just saying kind of like, where the Border Patrol are. It's kind of like a checkpoint, right? like if a DUI checkpoint, if you're drinking, you want to know where the checkpoint is so that you will decide, you know what, I'm just not going to drink. And if I do drink, I'm just not going to drive because there's a checkpoint down here. And I know where it's at. Or, I'll just go ahead and drink and I'll take a different route. So that argument wouldn't hold water for the Obama administration, but then will anybody care? Will anybody even look into this? Will it even make the news? I mean, it did make Fox News, but who else is going to pick up on it? The Border Patrol people, who do they have to turn to and say, hey, what the heck are you doing to us? You're putting our lives in danger. You're putting the American people's lives in danger. What are you doing? I mean, who are they going to go to? You think they're going to go to the head of the Border Patrol and talk to them, who's in bed with the Obama administration for no doubt? Please. Those poor people, I don't even know why you'd want to be a Border Patrol agent. I really don't. I think your job is incredibly hard on any good day. But then when you have the President of the United States making sure that you put on your website where you're not going to be, and God, I can't even believe that I'm reading this. And here's the explanation. Oh my God. Safety and sanctuary can generally be found at schools, churches, hospitals, and protests, where Customs and Border Protection agents are barred under a sensitive locations policy from carrying out the duty of enforcing border security. So the policies are meant to ensure that ICE and CBP, the Border Patrol officers and agents, exercise sound judgment when enforcing federal law at or focused on sensitive locations to ensure the public understanding and trust, or to enhance the public understanding and trust, and to ensure that people seeking to participate in activities or utilize services provided at any sensitive location are free to do so without fear or hesitation. And the website is in both English and Spanish. Oh, wow, that's amazing. That's great. Great news. See, it's not what you thought it was. See how cynical where your mind went? You thought that this was going to help illegals get across into the United States because they'll know where not to go. No. All we want to do is help these people get to wherever they want to go and use the services that our United States federal laws say that they can legitimately use even though they're here illegally. See, now it all makes sense, doesn't it? And you thought there was something wrong about it. Now, here's something else that you're not going to hear about. I mean, although it's really important, it should be talked about on every news station today. It should be trending on Twitter. It should be talked about. Even Mark Zuckerberg shouldn't be able to ban this from Facebook. And that is that the NSA has the deleted emails of Hillary Clinton. And they could, at any time they wanted to, allow the FBI to access those. Now, have you heard anything about that? Has anybody, did you turn on your news this morning and hear anybody talking about this? and I don't think that you're going to. This is a claim that's coming from a whistleblower, William Binney. He's an architect of the NSA surveillance program, and he became a whistleblower when he resigned from the agency in 2001. And he pointed to a 2011 testimony by the FBI Director Robert Mueller before a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing in which Mueller said the agency has access to sophisticated searchable databases to track down terrorists. And so he's saying, NSA's got all this information. Just give it to the FBI. If the FBI really, really wanted it, they can get it from the NSA, all of her emails. Now, but wait, who's in charge of the FBI? Let's see, that would be Loretta Lynch. the same one who had the private meeting with Bill Clinton on the plane, out there on the tarmac. The same one where the FBI cleared everybody out and then wouldn't let anybody into the meeting, and they didn't hear anything that was going on. The same FBI who Loretta Lynch later said, I'll go with any recommendation that the FBI has about Hillary Clinton. I'll take whatever they say. And then the FBI said, well, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to press charges. She's done some things, but we're just not going to prosecute. Huh. It's funny. Another one of those Obama coincidences. It's amazing how many coincidences happen in this administration. It's like one after the other, with the $400 million, with everything else. It's a coincidence in this transparent government. Amazing what happens. And so we know that now this whistleblower has come out, and what are we going to do? Nothing. We're going to do nothing. The FBI is going to do nothing. It's like watching a chess game with these people. You know that as long as they're right there on that chessboard, nothing is going to happen. You're going to get nothing done. And then you have WikiLeaks again saying, hey, you know what? We've got more information coming out, and we're going to just, continue to keep releasing all this information. And you have to wonder what they have. You know what they have. They have every email that Hillary Clinton has ever used on her server. If you think the NSA has those, then I think Russia has the exact same thing. And I'm guessing that WikiLeaks and Russia, since they're kind of all tied together, another coincidence, I'm sure, that they just share information. So whatever information that they have with the NSA, you can be assured that they have it in WikiLeaks. And WikiLeaks will just, hold on to that information until they feel that it's time to let it out there. And when is that? If you wait a week before the elections, is that really going to make a difference? Is that really going to cause people to say, oh my gosh, look at this? It takes people so long that are already, in it for Hillary. It takes them so long to even find out what she's doing, which, like I said, most of them don't even know. Is it really going to matter to them? Will they really care? At a week out, you're going to be able to teach them anything? I don't think so. It takes a lot longer than that. Yes, you have to time it because you got to get it close enough to the election that people won't forget, because they forget very quickly as well. Like, tomorrow they forget. Something new happens and they're not going to remember that Hillary did anything. So it has to be timed properly. I've even heard some people say, they may hold it back and not give out this information and wait to see if she gets elected. And then if she is elected, they could blackmail her as president of the United States with this information, because you wouldn't want, as president, you wouldn't want people to know that you've gotten yourself so intertwined in other, foreign governments that they're using the United States now and blackmailing the president of the United States, which would be, Hillary Clinton, if that's all true. They're just so much that, this woman, every time something is released, nobody does anything about it. You or I, we'd be in jail for 150,000 years already. Looking at charges, just one added on top of the other, and with her, no. Why is that? Well, because we all know why that is. We all know that everybody's working together, that everybody wants the same goal, which is to get Hillary Clinton in as president, probably to make Loretta Lynch, sitting on the Supreme Court for the rest of her life. Things like that. It's just amazing. And yet, here's the media, who at one point loved Donald Trump. They couldn't get enough of Donald Trump. Oh, he's just so great. Look at him. He's wonderful. And now, again, everything that Donald Trump says is taken by the media and used against him. Anytime he makes a comment, anytime he, like I said, cracks a joke or doesn't, whichever it is, they're going to use that against him. And I think in the beginning, he really felt that the media was for him and it was going to be great. They were going to go along with what he had to say, and he didn't have to worry. It was going to be just an easy transition on down to president and have the media continue to back him up and support him for everything he's doing. And I think the realization, at least to the people that work for Donald Trump, should be setting in to see that's not going to happen. These people are going to take him apart, and wait until the debates start. My gosh, everything that he says is going to be laughed at and mocked by this media because they are in it for Hillary. They always have been, and they always will be. No matter how many times she abuses them and tells them to go stand in that corner over there or get behind the rope that they've put up for them, they're going to do it. Because it's, their companies are controlled, and it's state run at this point. And so somebody needs to tell Donald Trump, when you're talking to Donald, people, whenever you give him a call or, you email him, you got to tell him, Donald, these people are not your friends. They are not on your side. You've got to realize that. And you've got to start strategically looking and seeing what it is that you should say before you say it. Because if you think they made fun of George Bush, they're really going to make fun of what Donald Trump does. It will be a mockery. And, the fact that he says, oh, it's big, very big, it'll be very, very big, or whatever he says like that, that is going to get to the point, they're going to use that, and they're just going to be laughing the whole way. They've been nice to him in the beginning, because they lay in the trap. These people are just like all the other people in the administration. They just lay traps and hope that you won't notice until it's too late. There's so much work that needs to be done in order to ensure that there's not going to be a Hillary presidency. And I know people are worried about voting fraud. Man, I am too. And I know that's something that's been going on for a long, long time. It's been going on since way back in the 70s when they wanted to get Jimmy Carter elected. If you don't think that election was rigged in some way, you're absolutely wrong. I know in the South it was. I have personal knowledge of it. So, yes, there is voter fraud. What does that mean? Well, it means that everybody needs to get out and vote, because if they don't, the voter fraud is going to be worse than it would have been had you not stayed at home. Who do you vote for? Well, that's up to you. I'm not one to tell you you have to vote for this one or the other. Yeah, and I know what the argument is on the other side. Well, if you don't vote for this candidate, then you elect the other. Yeah, whatever. People have a right to vote for whomever they want to, for whatever reason. And we don't have to agree. And again, if it's something that you don't like, we have gotten ourselves here into this position. So now we're going to have to live with it. However it comes out, we will have to live with it. And I think we need to stop thinking that if it comes out and Donald Trump wins, that everything is going to be just absolutely wonderful. Because it's not. We're going to have to watch him just like you would any other president. We have to make sure that there are no executive orders that shouldn't be used. Just like with Hillary. You think that she's not going to use 5,000 executive orders in the first week that she's there? My gosh, Planned Parenthood will never be so big as they will be under a Hillary Clinton presidency. So all of you people who are pro-life know that. And maybe you do. But that woman loves Planned Parenthood. And they will have money pouring into them like nobody's business. And you will not see anything where anybody is prosecuted. Again, I'm wondering why Gosnell is sitting there in prison for what he did with abortions. I don't see how that's any different than what the Planned Parenthood has been accused of. I see no difference. And yet, one guy's locked up and another organization remains intact. Don't get it? Don't understand it? I understand it's politics. I get all that. But the rationale that you use meaning the people who should be prosecuting, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And yet they get away with it. And yet the American public buys it. And yet we're told, we can't defund Planned Parenthood because they give so much to women. Wow. It is an amazing place where we are at. I think we are all here for this time, for whatever reason that we were brought here at this time. And we all play a part in what's going on. I feel part of what I'm supposed to do is give you the information, give you my opinion about what I feel about the information that I'm giving to you. You may not agree with me, and that's fine. I may not agree with you, and that's okay. I don't know two people who can really agree 100% on anything. But we should always be able to tell each other the truth as we see it. And it shouldn't have to be that we tell you the truth and then, I'm obligated to follow it. No, you're not. I would hope that you would sort of obligate yourself maybe to listen, and maybe you find that there's something out of it that you can learn from it, just as I would hope to do. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to agree with it. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be persuaded by it. But I will walk away thinking about some things. And I think that's what we really need to do, is think about some of the things. I mean, we are being lied to every single day in this country. I mean, there was a time where you could think that your government really cared and wasn't lying to you. I think that, that has been so long ago. I'm not even sure the government ever was really straightforward with the American people, but it's obvious now. I mean, and they're not trying to hide it. They do things and then just tell you, come on, you're making a big deal out of nothing. Just move on, nothing to see here. And we're so used to that happening to us. And it's so sad because our young people especially, they have been trained up by our school system, government school system, and by, the manuals that they read and things like that they've been given in school to read. They've just been taught that whatever the government says, you should believe it. There's no need for you to think about it. Just do it. Follow what you're being told. Don't have other people tell you a different scenario, because it's not true. If it didn't come out of the government's mouth, then it's not true. And as a matter of fact, when those people talk to you like that, what you should do is turn those people in, because obviously they don't love their country like you do. I mean, we're really at that point. And our arguments on social media over this election are getting to the point. Seriously, I am waiting to see. If it may have already happened, but I'm waiting to see the first time that somebody's dragged out in the middle of the street and flogged because they dared not agree with somebody else about Trump or Hillary or anybody else. And I, in the past, so I could have said that and said that jokingly, and everybody would have laughed. I'm not sure it's a joke anymore. I mean, I'm serious. I've seen people who are, to almost get to the point of threatening people online because they dare say that they may not vote for Trump. I mean, I don't know how we got here. I mean, were the Obama people like that with anybody who was opposed to voting for Obama? I mean, I don't know. I didn't run in those circles, thank God, and I don't know what was said, but I just don't remember hearing that type of thing. We're in deep trouble. I mean, even look at Bernie Sanders people. These people thought that they could believe what the government was telling them, that what Bernie was saying was true, that Bernie was going to take them to the promised land, if you will, and give them everything under the sun for free. And I don't know if you watched some of the DNC. I saw some clips from it. Well, these people were, when Bernie was saying, you got to vote for Hillary, standing up there selling out. These people were crying tears, looking at them like they had lost their best friend. Tears streaming down their faces. Men breaking down and just letting it all hang out there and crying over Bernie. Their savior, I suppose, in some ways. I mean, and then how bad was it for them to learn that they had been lied to, that he was part of the government, that he did do what the Democrat told him that he had to do. And did it make any difference that the next day, he became an independent? No. It's too late now. I mean, who's going to care? You sold out. Why didn't you become an independent and stay in the race if that's the case, if you really cared about the American people? He worked some deal, I understand, and what he's going to get now is that every time he wants to go someplace, he's going to be provided a jet to do it. And that's part of his deal. He has a jet at his beck and call now. Wow. Is that the price? Was it worth it? Was it worth the price of you selling out the American people, those people that believed in you? I mean, again, for all of us, we should never put that much faith in any one person, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian, whatever you are. If you put all your hopes and dreams in that one person, you're doing yourself a total disservice, because you're responsible too. You're the one that has to get up and go out there and do things to ensure that we don't get in this place again. I don't know what's coming for the future. I don't know who is going to win. It's hard to say. It goes up and down every other day. But no matter who wins, the fight is not over. It's just beginning. And there are people who say, America's done, and we'll never get her back. In some ways, I do believe that. We have lost a lot of our values and who we say that we are. And each and every day, I see people willing to compromise on their values, saying, oh, yeah, but really, is it fair? If we expect another side to do X, Y, and Z, shouldn't we have to do it too? And in my opinion, forgetting that this country was founded on Judeo-Christian values, and that's what should be the number one priority, not every other organization or religion. And I'm sorry if that excludes, but that's why this country was founded on Judeo-Christian principles, and that alone. And that's what we have to continue to look at and have as our guide and our Constitution based upon biblical principles. We shouldn't start looking and saying, oh, well, maybe we should do this because it wouldn't be fair, for another person not to be able to do this. You have to look and see what it is that you're giving up and why you're giving those up and how they may or may not coincide with your Judeo-Christian principles. And if you're not under those principles, if those aren't the ones that you follow, then you've got nothing to worry about, because we're spinning out of control into chaos right now. So that should make you really happy, because we're getting to the point where there are no rules, where anything goes, where nothing matters. And it depends on who you are as an individual and what you want. I, for one, I don't want there to be chaos. I, for one, would like to see my country strong again. I, for one, would like to see my country closing the borders to those people who we know, or should know, will want to do us harm. And maybe that's not a popular opinion, but you know what? That's a common sense one. And that doesn't discriminate against anybody who wants to be here and wants to become an American. Welcome. But those people who want to be here and want to hurt us in any way, shape, or form, you're not welcome here. And you should be kept out. Unless there's a foolproof vetting process that we can use, people should not be allowed in here. We don't have to allow people in here. There's no law that says we have to. But we are being told that's not the case. And no matter what, we have to open the doors to anybody and everybody, regardless of their motivation for being here. Just like always, there's so much happening. We have so much left in the week that it'll make your head spin. But so, grab on, hold on. Be focused where you should focus. Always be focused on your Judeo-Christian principles, Be focused on God. Know who you are. Know what your values are. Know what you stand for. And deal with everything else the best way you can. Always with God as the focus and God who takes the lead. Until next time, thank you for joining me today. God bless you. Take care. We'll see you again next week.